Hello, it's been so long since I did a podcast, but I was actually voice messaging one of my girls and I had a massive boom in my head and everything just lit up because I was pretty much talking about how I hate being called a trainer and I hate being called just a nutritionist because I call myself a transformation coach. I'm a coach. I take you from point A to point B. You can have any trainer give you a training plan and you can have any person write up a diet plan, but what's missing there are the environmental influences, the internal influences like trauma or past experiences or self-sabotage that might keep luring up into your world and you don't know where it's coming from. It could be stress eating, emotional eating, binge eating, all of this stuff. You could be so perfect on a training plan, so perfect on a diet plan, but then something could happen that just triggers you into a cascade. That is why I don't like calling myself a trainer or a nutritionist, because my job is to get you from point A to point B. I've had people who've not been able to adhere to either the diet or the training plan for certain periods of time because so much shit was going on in their life that they just needed that support. They just needed that person to talk to understand them and to tell them everything's going to be all right. That support network that kind of reacts as the process goes, doesn't proact, because if you try and estimate the way everything's gonna go, if you try and forecast what things need to look like in 4 weeks and keep it rigid at that without, there are people that forecast when deload should happen or should forecast when diet break should happen or should forecast all of this stuff, but if it comes to that period of time and you're not yet ready for it, they are so stubborn on their forecasted plan that they aren't willing to put in the time to readjust. I've had a diet break planned for some people at certain times and we never ended up carrying through it. Why? Because they did not they didn't earn the diet break. I hate saying earn, but between the period of time where I forecasted it and getting to the actual point where it was time for the diet break, there were periods where they were pretty much diet breaking on their own because shit was just going on in their family life. Shit was going on in their mind. They couldn't just focus because everything was throwing them off where they want to be. I have a client right now as well who I really do want to put on a diet break. I never said it, but I probably did say it, but I plan everything in advance, but I'm always revisiting my plans every single time I do check-ins or every single time something in their life pops up. I will take notes so then when I'm in their files to do check-ins, I make adjustments. So I had a diet break planned for someone, but in the meantime, I found out they weren't able to be adherent to anything and they weren't able to train because life was happening. And a lot of the time, as much as I can push my girls and push you to be communicative with me, keep me in the loop on the daily and know and make sure that I know what's going on, I can't, I'm not watching you every step of the way. And there are some times where I don't find things out until it's check-in time. And that actually stresses me the hell out because I don't like not knowing what's going on. I like knowing that you can confide in me and you have that support when you need it without feeling like a failure, because there's no such thing as failing unless you don't admit to something and work and use it as a learning curve. So I guess the whole point of this episode is to assure you that there is nothing wrong if you can't stick to something, or if you found that trying to do the Whole30 diet or the keto diet, did I just say keto? I was meant to say the fuck diet. But yeah, the keto, actually, I'm going to touch on that. You don't know how many people have come to me saying that they've tried the keto and they just blew out, or they felt like shit, or their skin was oily, or they felt like they screwed up their hormones, or they just couldn't adhere to it, or all they got was cravings for pasta, and now all they do is binge eat, and it's completely ruined their relationship with food. Like, keto is perfectly fine. You can lose weight on keto if it's implemented, like, for the right reason. Like, there is no really right reason to implement it, but if it's going to help you stick to a calorie deficit, although I would never do the keto diet to the way that a keto diet's described to be a keto diet, because protein intake is too low. So I would say I wouldn't be against a low carb, high fat diet if your protein intake was adequate and you were still counting your calories, or it just made you be in a deficit without even thinking. But I don't promote any type of diet that cuts out food groups completely, because it's putting a negative connotation on food, and semantics matter. If you're going to say carbs are bad, if you're going to say fruit is bad, if you're going to say fats are bad, if you're going to say anything is bad or good or clean or dirty, you are really ingraining a bad relationship with food. And if you're a mother and you are using those terms in front of your kids, they are going to grow up with a really bad relationship with food, and if they get into a rebel state, they will seek this bad or dirty food as comfort. So it is so important that you watch how you speak to yourself, and you watch how you approach food without cutting out whole food groups. Now, back to what I was saying. You can follow any diet approach you want, and if you fail at the diet, you did not fail the diet. Semantics. The diet failed you. You followed something way out of what you can manage in your day-to-day life. Like, if you try to do intermittent fasting because Jane Doe or Karen that said that intermittent fasting is the best way to lose weight, so then you put yourself into intermittent fasting, but oh wait, you wake up at 5 a.m, you have to run around and take the kids to extracurricular activities, you have to start your job early, you have to do all these different tasks, and you're ravenous by friggin' 10 a.m, and then you eat everything inside because you're so hungry, then, oh, I failed my diet. No. The diet failed you because you picked something that does not fit with your schedule, it does not fit with your lifestyle. That is where coaching comes in. Like, you can follow any freaking diet plan, you can follow any freaking training plan, but if you don't have that support, if you don't have someone to give you the constant feedback, and especially as humans, we're so emotional, and a lot of the time we let our emotions override our logic. And not only that, but what's going to happen once we plateau? Like, actually, I've had a couple of clients in the past that have done this, where everything is just going perfect, and I spoke about this on the last podcast I did on Revolutionary You, which I posted on my wall, but if you didn't check it up, it's Revolutionary You, and episode 153, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you can see that everything's going really well. You're on a nice little deficit, you're training consistently 5 days a week. Or what will happen if I chuck in some extra cardio sessions? What will happen if I throw in some fasted cardio? Or I'm going to do some fasted cardio on my days off, and I'm just going to do a little pump session on the weekend because I'm not doing any weights. Or what if I cut some more carbs out, then I'll lose weight faster? Like, there are people that see everything is going well, so then they want to take things to the next level. When things are actually still responding, yeah, they're responding slow, but they're still happening. And if you're going to desire such fast, like, if you want the fastest of fast results, and you don't see even the smallest of, like, progress steps, or the smallest of gains, or the smallest of wins as something massive that can really accumulate into something really, really, really big, then you are setting yourself up for failure, because you're going to shortcut yourself. You're going to leave yourself with nothing in the bucket. Like, if you think about it, you have a bucket of all your resources: food, energy, sleep, stress, spare time, training. If you're going to put all your training in, put all your cardio in, leave yourself with no more time, take all your food out to the point where you're ravenous and craving, or to the point where you fuck up your hormones and your metabolism and you just don't respond anymore, or it shuts, I'm trying to think of a non-smart way to say it shuts down your metabolic processes, so then you just don't burn things effectively, if that makes sense. Like, you get into a point where your body tries to survive, and something that could be like, that's when calorie counts will be so like unreliable, because something that your body would usually absorb as 20 calories, it could be absorbing as 40 calories, because it extracts every mere morsel of energy to keep you alive. Your body wants to keep you alive, and if you're going to put it into a shocked state by I don't want to say starving it, because there's no such thing as starvation mode, but you're pretty much taking away its fuel, then you're going to bottom out. And I always say you should be in not really a reverse diet, but a recovery diet, a maintenance phase, or a building phase for the same amount of time that you were dieting. Otherwise, you're not giving yourself enough time to really set up your vehicle to travel the long journey ahead to get you to where you want to be. Like, that's pretty much why now it takes me no effort to maintain the body that I have. Well, yeah, it's hard freaking work, but it's not excessive to the point where I have to think about everything, because I've been doing it for so long. I went through different phases of cutting and like performance strength phases. I don't like saying bulking. I usually say building, but sometimes building can be scary too for some people, because it's like, I'm not massive. I can pose to make myself look massive, but I'm pretty small. And it's really important to not just focus on aesthetics, because if that's all you're going to focus on, you're not letting yourself grow. You're not letting yourself optimize your health, optimize your strength, optimize your life quality. Because once you have your strength there, if you're going to have strong muscles, you're going to need to have strong bones. You're going to need to have strong collagen, strong tendons. So by working on your body in that way, you're setting yourself up for life. Because the stronger your tendons, the stronger your bones, the stronger your joints, the stronger all that stuff there. Imagine what it's going to be like once you're aged and you're 60. Like, I see so many people who are into the fitness life. Well, I don't know they're 60. They say they're 60, but you would never guess, because they don't look 60. Okay? Because exercise in itself is anti-aging. Nutrition, it's an antioxidant. Like, all this stuff, it all pays off. And like, when I say it's anti-aging, it actually is, because if you think of all the cells in your body, antioxidants keep those cells supple and vital. And by keeping those cells alive, you're fighting the aging process. And yeah, anyway, that's my little ramble on my way home. I hope you enjoyed it. So look at it as a journey for life, and I will see you on the other side.